Before I mount these parts onto the frame, I would like to do a test for a usage versus capacity versus drain. I just want to see if I were to run my KPC TNC Yaesu 857 at a whatever, let's say 25 watts, and the Yaesu FT1D handset, all of them kind of plugged in and drawing current from these batteries. I want to measure how long the batteries will last with that configuration. And then I'm also going to hook up the solar panel. So I want to test the trickle charge while these devices are working its way by drawing the current from these batteries. And I want to time that and see how that whole thing works. And then separately, I also want to test it with the ATAS 120A antenna, because that draws power from the Yaesu 857. So I need to make sure that the antenna, the tuner, has sufficient power to draw from these batteries and that the batteries last long enough. If that test doesn't work as well, another idea is to, let me walk you up through here, is to use this puppy here. It's a sun socket energy bar. It provides about 200 and I believe it's 250 amp hours. So that's a lot of juice in this box. Not only that, it provides AC output. It's got USB ports on them. It's got 15 volts output. You could even stick in a solar charger in there for it to trickle charge, and it's got a 12 volt outlet all built into it, and it's got a pretty cool LCD display showing the status of the battery pack. The only challenge is it's much wider than I can fit in that frame, so I need to figure if I can install this vertically. That could be possible. Or worst case scenario is I could open up the shell and then separate the circuitry, separate the batteries, the charging circuitry, and the AC circuitry. That's a lot more work, and I would like to avoid that if I can. But this is another option, and this works really well because I know I've tested this during my son's soccer camps and such. This thing lasts forever. I had a heater running off of it, a fan running off of it, and it lasted whatever, almost half a day, really, at a nominal current draw. So that's a good option as a plan B. So as I was describing earlier, before I mounted these batteries and the equipment onto the frame and the antennas, of course, I wanted to do a quick round of tests on capacity versus discharge versus usage. So I basically have hooked up my 857 to the batteries that are connected in parallel. So they're supplying about, they're supplying about 12.78 volts at 20 amp hour capacity. And I just rigged up these cables quick this morning, and using some quick connectors, I made some connects to the Yaesu. Also, I have hooked up the batteries onto my KPC Cantronics. Let me move it a little bit. There you go. Currently it's powered up, and Yaesu 857 is currently tuned up to APRS 144.39. Just listening in as we speak. There's no transmission happening right now, but I will be having that test as well at a 25 and 50 watt and see how the battery performs. Now basically, so that's the setup right now. I'm doing a quick round of testing with these batteries with my Yaesu 857, currently running at 25 watts, receiving only at this point in time with APRS 144.39 here in the US. Now eventually, of course, when I mount these onto the frame, I will have proper cables and Anderson poles, connectivity, etc. So as you can tell, while the Yaesu 857 is reading packets from APRS frequency, you can see that it's actually the KPC is recepting those packets and processing them as we speak. So I'm gonna let this run for, I started this at about 10:20 a.m. this morning, Central Time, that is, on Sunday, and I'm gonna let this go for another, or till whatever time it goes to, but I will let this run for now. And here's a laptop that's gonna, hopefully, I think this might end up on my Shack to Go frame. I still need to figure out how this is gonna work. I may have to provide some sort of a brackets to it that I can pull out and set it up, and then sort of like an airplane passenger trays, sort of like that. But anyways, right now I'm gonna also test the KPC TNC to hook up. It's currently hooked up to my laptop there, as you can tell, and I'm gonna run PuTTY and monitor the packets. I'm gonna set up the KPC to act as a digipeater for now, just so it can send packets, or at a minimum I'll have it set up to send out beacons once every 5 minutes. And then I'm going to test the 857 with a 25 watt and a 50 watt output for a limited time and see how that works. Now on the side here I have the VHF UHF antenna. This is made by Diamond, that's hooked up to the frame currently, and that's being used for APRS testing right now. And that's my ATAS 120A. That's hooked up to my 857 on the high frequency antenna port in, and I'm going to set up my 857's ATAS menu system so as to recognize the antenna and do some automatic tuning and see how far that goes. Just a quick update, I moved the ATAS antenna to the frame about 2 or 3 hours ago. I added some ground plane, and eventually what I'd like to do is set up the ATAS for that frequency and measure the SWR, and then mark the ground plane wire with a color-coded heat string. That way I'll know which color code to use for which frequency from a ground plane standpoint. Also, actually, if you look at the ATAS base structure there, I moved that a little bit further down just for some added support. So that's the setup currently. Another update is I have been running this 857 on these two batteries since the morning today, since 10:20 Central Time Sunday morning, and it's still running. It's about 3:45 p.m. I've been running it in 25 watt. The radio receives APRS currently, and it transmits beacons through the Cantronics KPC, as you can see right there. It receives packets and then sends out beacons, 5 minutes intervals at 25 watts output. So I think the batteries are working pretty good. I think they are still holding up their power, and I've run the ATAS for about an hour, just testing the SWR and tuning it, etc. So that obviously took some battery consumption, which is good to see because the batteries are still holding up. Another quick update before I close the day tonight. It's Sunday I think it's about 11 p.m. Just wrapping up the day here. But basically I replaced the RG8X cable with the RG400U cables for both the VHF UHF antenna and the ATAS antenna. And I took the shell off of the 857 on both sides and took it down to do a quick spray paint on them. So that's kind of drying up right now, and I took these brackets off of the frame. These used to be like over there and like so. There are two of them. So I took them off, and I'll be mounting the 857 onto these brackets and then installing them onto the frame. Now I also took the solar charge controller and I took the shell out of it, and I took that down for spray painting. So that's going on as we speak. And last but not least, these are the original stickers that were on the Yaesu 857, the outer casing, and I'm gonna put these back after the paint dries, and that way it'll look nice. So I think that's it for now for today, and there's more to go here. We'll talk soon. Bye.